But
Cool.
yeah, man, no, I want to thank you for cruising by, taking the time. I know we were trying to make this happen for a minute. First, dude, check in. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for
Yeah.
asking. I'm happy to be here. I'm really glad that you thought of me and, thought that I was somebody that you'd like to have on the show. And I'm really, honored and welcome to be here. So,
Well, the
yeah.
interesting thing about you, Robbie, is your fascination, your passion for zines.
Yeah, I mean,
Tell us about it. Tell us, inspire us about it.
I think I discovered zines when I was probably in junior high, 7th or 8th grade. I didn't really know what they were. I just started exploring the medium because I saw people sharing things that really were very personal, not just with them, but also with myself. So I kind of started connecting to that. I grew up in Ventura, just down the road here.
Yeah.
I was really into punk rock when I was in middle school. So I started like finding all these punk zines. A lot of them were like on animal rights, which I was like really felt very strongly about. A lot of them were about equality, calling out the problems that were going on within our capitalist system. So at a very young age, I kind of started seeing that, and I became very radicalized already.
You're doing this in junior high?
Yeah, so I was like already, I was already kind of like somebody that like already in the deep end of things a little bit, like where I was like something kind of signaled to me like, just like the state of things was oppressive to like not just people, not just like brown folks, but also like people that, from lower socioeconomic background, people from other races and stuff like that. So I kind of started to see that at a very young age, become aware of that. And then what I found in zines and music really echoed that. So I think I became really affected and influenced by that at a very young age, like coupled with my love of skateboarding, which is also like a very rebellious act typically as like a youth. So like, me and my friends, we were like the outsiders in junior high, kind of like dressing in black and just we did our thing. And but it really stuck with me. I think when I started to get a little bit older, like high school age, I moved a little bit away from that because there was a lot of pressure, especially growing up here in the suburbs, to like kind of fit in more. But it all
You're figuring yourself out.
Yeah, but it all really found a way back to me in my adult life. And that's kind of like the beginning stages of that, just kind of discovering it as a youth and realizing like I have a voice as well. These people have a voice. They're not really waiting around for somebody to say, "Hey, we're gonna print your book. We're gonna print your literature. We're gonna print your flyers." They're just going out and doing it. They're going to the Kinkos or whatever we had back then and making copies, and they're giving it out to their friends or they're selling to their friends. And I was just really, really influenced by that. I thought it was really amazing. So
totally, man, and definitely you need to check out that documentary I was telling you about.
Oh, most definitely.
The giant robot documentary, because like right away when you were telling me a little bit about your zine fascination, and I saw that documentary, like you were the first person I thought of, like, oh, Robbie needs to see this. Yeah, man, they were great. So then how did you evolve it, as in like to start traveling to different parts? You were going to bigger cities, getting those influences. How was that?
Yeah, I think what kind of popped that off for me is I started again growing up here in the suburbs. It felt like I felt disenfranchised from a lot of things here. Kind of felt like the odd person out, like I couldn't necessarily be myself. So I guess I just started like kind of maybe taking inventory collectively, like when I would go places, like for example, we have family in Hollywood. My great aunt and uncle lived there.
Nice.
We would go down there to visit them, and I just would feel like it just feel a little different to me, so I would feel like the cadence and like the movement of things down there, and it felt different. So I took note of that, even when I wasn't like necessarily conscious of it. I took note of that. And then as I got older, like I said, high school was like kind of a tumultuous time for me. I was very rebellious. I fell in with a very rough crowd. So I think with that, I was just searching for something. And when I got to be like old enough, like 18, finishing up school, like I was just like, I wanted something different. And then, it was like very obvious to me, like, oh, there's like a lot more resources a lot more like-minded people in Los Angeles. You need to spend more time there. I think that was also coupled with my very real love, like, of graffiti, which like really started to kind of climax at that point, because now you've got friends that are old enough to drive. You know, you're really getting out there a little bit more independently, and you know, you have like a newfound autonomy when you're a new legal adult in our society. So yeah, I think I started really getting involved with that, and I came to find that like the graffiti crew and the family that I became a part of, they were like right in the same neighborhood that I had grown up going to. They lived right just blocks away from, most of them lived blocks away from my great aunt and uncle. So like I was like, wait, I've already been here. I've already seen what you guys are doing. And now you're like welcoming me in and kind of introducing me to this whole different world that I grew up, from what I grew up surrounded by in the suburbs. And, you know, it just kind of like, it really like clicked. And then as soon as I got with them, we started like going on missions up to like the San Francisco Bay to paint graffiti, and we'd like leave on a Thursday, you know, at 9:00 at night and get there in the morning and paint graffiti all night along the way. And you know, it was a very freeing thing for me. And
sounds like a movie, man.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. I feel like how the other people that I was surrounded by, they lived like they wanted to, you know, they weren't really answering to a lot of people. That was very alluring to me, you know, like they lived by their own code of ethics. And it was really amazing because, and I was just talking to an old friend on the phone about this the other day. You know, now we're in our 40s, but it's like, you know, really graffiti writers, they can do anything because they're like setting their mind to something, being in spaces that they're not allowed to be in, operating outside of a system that we all operate within. And yeah, it really gave me some interesting problem solving skills. I really picked up a lot of skills that I still carry with me to this day from that. And yeah, I wouldn't change it for anything, you know. I mean, I wish that I had maybe made some better decisions, but at the same time,
you learned from that.
Yeah, and that was the path that I was destined to take, and I'm very grateful for it. Like I said, you know, grateful for those friendships that I made. I still am in that, you know, trying to offer mentorship to the younger people in my graffiti crew. Yeah, so that's just a big part of my upbringing, big part of my life as a young adult. And yeah, I like I said, I wouldn't change that.
Yeah, I want to go back to one of your stickers, and it's promoting. It's called Self-Esteem Zine?
Esteem Issues. Esteem Issues, yeah.
Esteem Issues.
Esteem Issues Zine, yeah.
Okay, tell us about the idea behind that.
You know what? I think it really comes from just like some inside jokes with friends. Like we would be talking about zines, talking about books, and I had made zines up until that point. They didn't really have necessarily like a cohesive theme. They didn't have a cohesive name. They were basically just what you call perzines. So they're personal zines, and they would be maybe like collage, drawings, prints, writing, some photos, and they were just an amalgamation of all these things. So, you know, they're all different from one another. But I guess I just started rapping with a friend about like the idea of like doing a zine that was like kind of had more or less of a formula to it. And I just thought the title of Esteem Issues, because like a magazine, you know, it's got its issues, you know, November, December, but this was like a play on words where, you know, we all have like these issues that we deal with related to our self-esteem, related to our self-image and confidence. And I was just trying to kind of make a play on that, have a little bit of, you know, self-deprecating innuendo a little bit in there, and just have like something witty. Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. I think there might be someone on the door, but we are flowing, my friend.
Cool.
Let me just double check.
Yeah.
We're back. Once again, we want to thank all the listeners, viewers, for all their support, for listening, for paying attention to these stories. These stories are very unique. Robbie wanted to share some of his story. Not everything is always, you know, a beautiful picture. There's a lot of hardships that happen. Sometimes it has, you know, to do with just pressure. Sometimes it has to do with just getting caught up sometimes. You know what I mean? Like everything is all going good, like the party's going good, but sometimes the party could get a little overwhelming.
Yeah, most definitely.
I mean, and so then with that, Robbie, go ahead and express yourself however you like.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of my life, and not just young adulthood, but starting as far back as adolescence, was drug use and substance abuse. Unfortunately, that was very prevalent around the social circles that I kept. If for a lot of people that have grown up around the graffiti scene, or even in the scene surrounding skateboarding, know that those things are pretty common. Substance abuse is pretty rife in both of those. So right in the young age of 13, 14, I got mixed up in all that, and it was something that was very consistent.
Too young, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that was very consistent up until my early to mid 30s. It was something that was really tough for me to break away from, but yeah, I mean, I think that it's also an unfortunate circumstance, but it was something that shaped me, and now I'm grateful for those very, very hard lessons I learned through doing that.
What was the point where you finally said, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna mix it up here"?
I mean, I don't know what it was. There had been so many different epics as far as like drug and substance abuse is concerned for myself, but I think, I had these very big, dramatic experiences with these very difficult substances that a lot of people had. But I think at the end, the real thing was I got really, it was pharmaceuticals. Like, I was really addicted to pills, and I think that's like a very low wattage kind of drug to be using. There's not a lot of excitement around it. And I think it was just that, like, where I was like, wait, this is really like where I'm at.
But it's so easy.
They're so accessible.
Exactly.
It's something to help us check out, especially when life feels like it has us by the throat. And yeah, for me, I think it was just like that low wattage depression that finally got to me, and I was like, wait, this is like a choice that I'm making. I need to be the one. Like, I can make a decision when I wake up whether I want to do this or not, and I'm just going to make the decision to like put that in my rear view and keep things moving. And I think at that point it was really slow. Like, I want to say like, oh yeah, everything just like turned around and I was like, great, but it was really, really slow. I
get out of the haze.
Yeah, I got out of the haze, and maybe like a few months later, I was in a very, very emotionally abusive relationship. So I kind of traded one hit sensation for the other, and I found myself, and I was in San Francisco at the time, and I was in this relationship that just seemed really out of control. And because of that, I ended up like packing up my stuff and coming back to Ventura. And it was here that I found like a mentor. So basically, like, I saw their like information, like maybe, or like their sign for their business on the street somewhere, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna call that number. And it was just like, maybe for like 2 or 3 months I didn't call. I was scared to, and then finally I made the call, and still maybe it was like another month before I scheduled time to work with them. And then finally I made some time and met with them, and really having their mentorship, having someone to like really guide me on this healing journey was the one thing that kind of started getting things really, really rolling for me. And even since then, that was in 2017, it's still been like a very, very slow process, but I'm super grateful. I think that talk therapy, counsel, and mentorship are 3 big things that really help me not just turn things around for myself, but just change my whole perspective on the way that I was living my life and how that related to like the world around me. And it's just been great. I'm learning things every week and every day even. And I'm just really excited to still be patiently learning on this healing journey, and knowing that that healing has not been linear. I go back and forth a lot,
for sure,
there's been a lot of different crap that's been thrown my way throughout that whole process. But I just keep really forging ahead. And, I think things like this, it's not something that we can do on our own. We really need that outside support.
For sure.
We really need perspective from people that
you need to see outside of your tunnel vision.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's for a long time I was stuck in that. I want to be doing what I want to be doing. No one's gonna tell me anything. If somebody's trying to tell me what to do, I'm gonna do the opposite. You know, like that's where I was. I think that's the Aquarius in me. Like I'm just like I need to like not listen to you. I'm gonna listen to whatever I want to do, and I'm gonna do that. I don't care if I burn it all down. You know, like so. I think I had to really bring all that back in and then be like, oh wait, you know, like there's people that love me, depend on me, care about me. The way that I'm behaving affects them as well, and I need to be conscious of that, and I want to be, you know, a better person around that time when I was really getting off pills for that first time.
Bro,
you know,
I'm gonna go towards the relationship stuff.
Oh,
bro.
yeah, go for it.
No, I mean, just because I'm like, the pills and everything, like, yeah, that's like a dependency, but the relationship part, that's like your heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the supportive towards your heart. How were you able to get through that? I mean, you just had to take off, or how's your healing with that right now?
I mean, it's good, you know. I mean, I think, like I said, through counsel and mentorship, I've been able to really forge, you know, a good collection of tools to like help me regulate my emotions. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that's something that gets talked about enough.
No,
There's so many people that have a background in drug abuse, substance abuse, and then they fall into these codependent patterns in relationships, you know? So it's like one thing for the other, and we're stuck in, you know, first it was the drugs and the alcohol, and then now, you know, you find yourself stuck in this relationship, and it's giving you the same exact kind of feelings, you know, that risk rewards there.
But also it has to do with not feeling like your own kind of complete, feeling complete with oneself.
Yeah, and really, you know, finding somebody to kind of try and validate that for you. So I think the big thing about getting away from stuff like that was finding the tools to build my self-confidence, find that I could, you know, feel good about myself on my own, and then that kind of stuff started to fade. I mean I think for myself personally, I had to really take a lot of deep inventory of myself and see, just given what I do with the photography, you know, there's a lot of passion that gets poured into that, and it's moving in all these different directions sometimes, and relationship can be very good. It can really complement that, and then it can also take away from that sometimes. The wrong relationship can anyway. So I think part of me being by myself is you know, really honing those skills and being in that and being able to work with all the facets of that passion, and how whichever way it's going, you know, I have all that freedom to create whatever I want this to be. And not to say I couldn't do that within the, confines of a relationship, but sometimes it gets tricky, you know. And right now, with where I'm at with my work, it's like it's at this big nexus where it's just like kind of at the fever pitch, and it's really, really moving right now. And I don't want to say anything like I don't have time for a relationship or be one of those kinds of people, but I do see that it takes a certain kind of person to do this work and be in it like that. And sometimes, you know, that could maybe leave me not able to all the way be in it with somebody in a romantic partnership right now. So I'm just very...
Or second, you never know, but in the process of following your passion, the right person might come around that complements that. And I think that's the best route right there.
Yeah, totally, right? And
or if you just, you know, who knows, like you run into somebody at a random place, but that if that person isn't into what you're into, but it's just a super supportive person, that's awesome too.
Yeah, and you know, for me now, I have a real wealth of friends, and you know, these are people that are really there for me, supporting me on a real deep level, and you know, like that's like a big part of my relationships is these, you know, is these very strong connections and platonic friendships that I have, and the support that I get there. So yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about being, you know, about the solitude. And I know, like before, I was just recently, up until about 9 months ago, I was living in Sacramento. I lived by myself. And the solitude there gave me a lot of perspective to really like create the body of work that I'm working on right now. And yeah, I don't know.
Tell us about that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, it's documentation of my neighborhood in the greater Los Angeles area. It's mostly shot on 35 millimeter film.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty much out. I mean, ask any of my friends. I'm pretty much out in the street working on it from sometimes the time I get up to the time I go to sleep.
That's what it takes.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky that there's a wealth of things to shoot where I live. There's no lack of interesting subject matter. There's a lot of stimulation there.
And that's what part?
I live in East Hollywood right now, so
Okay.
you know, big shout out to East Hollywood.
you
Like
go.
one of, you know, I don't know. In my opinion, I feel like for me, it's the best neighborhood in the world.
There it is.
It's just a big melting pot. It's just all kinds of people, and they're doing their own thing the way that they want to be doing it, and it's just really inspiring. I wake up every day inspired. Right now, it's been kind of hard to be there. We had the fires back in January.
Yeah,
Right now
yeah.
we're struggling with the ice raids.
Yeah.
But you know what? People there are really resilient and really
Mhm.
strong, and it gives me a lot of inspiration to see the way that they work, and just the way that some of them might not be familiar with the way, like what I'm doing. But then when I explain it to them, they're very interested. You know, they're getting people that might not know about street or documentary photography are getting like interested. They're like wondering, because they saw me and I was like this new person there, and I'm always just with this camera. They're like, what's this guy doing? Like, why is he like taking pictures of this? But now they kind of see it, they know it. They're asking about the zines, they're asking about the books. So it's just
That's
great.
what's up,
Yeah,
man.
and it's giving people some shine. Because I think in a lot of neighborhoods that are a little bit more like disenfranchised, you know, people see a camera and they think surveillance, you know.
Right,
So they're like,
right.
oh wait, I'm
It's gonna be
weary
used
about
against- it's
this,
gonna
you
be
know.
used against
Yeah,
me.
exactly. Instead of something to uplift them, to give them some shine, to give them some notoriety, to
But I
give them
think
some pride.
they
You know?
also read the photographer too, though.
Mhm,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? If you
yeah.
got style, you know what I mean? If you're chill, then they're
Yeah.
like, okay, all right. But
Yeah.
if you're looking like a square and you're just staring at people in a weird way,
Yeah.
then they're like, oh, nah.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, I think being very approachable, bringing that good energy is really important. And yeah, that's where I'm at right now. In May, I just came out with a new book. Yeah, and I'm really excited about that. It's been a long time coming, that one. And, you know, I've got more titles on the way.
Are we going to be able to where could we find?
You know what? That's going to be on the website in just a few weeks here.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that is going to be steamissueszine.com.
Nice.
It's going to be on there. There's also going to be some spots locally and throughout the state that are going to be stocking that. So
Nice.
I'm pretty excited about
Heck
it.
yeah, man. I'm
And
excited for you, bro.
yeah, it's just been a lot of people have been able to help me on this. Shout out my graphic designer. You know, there's been a lot of help that I've had to have to get this thing going. But yeah, it's like it's taking on a bigger life since I moved back to Southern California, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. But yeah, I don't feel like stopping anytime soon, and I know that it's important for us to like find passionate projects that we're passionate about. I
For
think,
sure.
you know, I see that, and just, you know, to go back a little bit, a lot of the reasons for me finding certain outlets, graffiti, skateboarding, and even, you know, substance abuse, it was like I didn't feel like I fit in, and I had a hard time finding things that I was passionate about or things that spoke to me, you know, and I think that's part of that.
Right.
And, you know, I feel very blessed to be in a field where I'm like inspired, I'm passionate about the work that
You
I'm
found
creating. Yeah, and just, you know, I'm very lucky because I know a lot of us, especially in this society, we don't have that, you know. There's a lot of people, you know, they have a hard time going to their job. They don't like the path that they've chosen, and, you know, I want to also let people know that it's not ever too late to like change things up,
Right.
you know, like,
Right.
like if I had at 27, when I was just like really in the throes of substance abuse, if I had known like, oh, I'm gonna be like going through with like this photo thing and like working on that, and, you know, publishing my work and having, you know, these bigger publishers interested in my work, I would have like never believed it. I would have been like, no, you know what? I think I'm gonna like hang out right here and like just be like drinking and like and just be, exactly. The alley right here is good, you know, and
I'm on a good one. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters. This right now, and instead of, you know, I'm able to zoom out and look at the bigger picture and find, you know, channel that passion into something bigger that's gonna not just bring joy to myself, but also the people around me, you know? So I think that's big, yeah.
I want to just add, because I hear a lot of people like, oh, you know what? Do what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hear a lot of that, and I agree. And even then some. I'll even say, even for I don't know if you could vouch for this, but even those that choose to follow their passion, it just means that you're also following your passion does not bypass the idea that you have to work your as hard as you possibly can.
Yeah, right.
That's the thing, is that everybody is like, nah, dude, yeah, you follow your passion, but that means that you're gonna work super duper hard. Whatever hard you see other people doing, you're gonna be doing like 5 times, because it is the reason it's your passion is because you're gonna be wanting to work that hard.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like as an artist, as a filmmaker, as a athlete, as a freaking scientist, like you gotta be studying, you gotta be doing your experiments, and this is ongoing. Like it's not like, oh, this is chill, I'm just gonna chill and be a famous graffiti artist. No, you're gonna be going and risking your life and creating and doing some amazing work, but like all like, you know, be all on the low and like ninja style, and try to do it like every night. I mean, it's insane. It's insane life, the way we choose for our passions. But with that being said, the gratification is in that, like, hey, you know what? Like whatever I when I lived my life, I did something that I think that really mattered. And then if we look at our heroes, we see that they dedicated their lives to these things also. I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I'm very blessed, especially within the creative community. There's so many folks that are inspiring to me. You know, my peers are very inspiring. And it's just like going around them, like I feel like I always come away from our meetings like with new perspective. So it's like, so I feel like that's really good. I'm always like getting new perspective and realizing like what, you know, the importance of what I do, what we do at large. And yeah, it's been really great, especially seeing that since I moved back here. The community has been really supportive, and I've been able to connect with more of my friends, more of my peers, and, you know, foster deeper connections, working relationships, and it's just been really good. Yeah.
Question.
Sure.
From all the places that you've been to, what are some of the elements that you would love to see, those elements from the big cities in Ventura County?
Let's see. I feel like, you know, there's like a cohesiveness that I see in, you know, LA and in the Bay Area that I feel like that's really kind of missing in Ventura. You know, I think it just seems like when I'm here, a lot of folks, and because it's the suburbs, I get it, you know, they go to their job, they come home, and then they're inside their house. There's less of a sense of community, and I think that that's growing now. I see, at least from what I see, little by little, it seems to be growing. I think that there's more to do now in some of these, and I feel like Oxnard's always been ahead of Ventura in that regard. Like there's stronger community, and you see it there. And I think, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, like that's part of it is that they have a more mixed, you know, background where, you know, there's a lot of people from Mexico, there's a lot of folks from different places, everywhere. And they bring their culture, they have a strong sense of community, and then they bring that, you know, when they move and they settle in Oxnard. And, you know, I think that that's big, you know, and we see it like not just with, you know, the community, but you also see like, you know, that's why it fostered things like the Nardcore music scene. And that's why like things like that have come out of there. And I think for Ventura, there's more coming now, but I think it's, you know, it's interesting to say, and I talked with this about some of my friends that grew up here, but I think it's kind of just coming into its own, and it's really going to be growing for better or worse. I know some of the locals don't like that. I
Yeah.
think, unfortunately, it's
They don't want to
inevitable.
grow.
Yeah, it's inevitable, but also, with that growth, you're bringing more in for the younger people, and that's what we have to remember. It's not just about keeping things the way that we want them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm as nostalgic as the next person, so it's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm always like, damn, I loved it when it was like that, and that was so cute, and that was so cool, and that was so comforting. But I think it's important for me to like zoom out and realize like, well, what do like the younger people want? Because it's important for them to have their needs met. It's important for them to live somewhere that where things feel more accessible and they feel more supported.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
even if that looks different from some of the ways that it looked when I was growing up or when
Mm-hmm.
we were growing up, I think it's important for us to help foster that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very good question. And namely, I would say that sense of community and that sense of connection. And that's what I would like to see displayed more prominently here. Yeah.
All right. We just got a call from a funder who wants to fund any project you ever wanted to do. What should I tell them?
Oh shoot. I don't know. That's like so big.
It's so big, but it's like you got to be ready when it comes on, gets on. You know what I mean? When they hand it over to you.
Yeah. I mean,
That's part of dreaming.
I would think, I feel like it'd be really cool to say I'd want to do something really fancy somewhere abroad, but you know
Mm-hmm.
what? I think it'd be more important to document what's going on here close to home and really
Mm-hmm.
document what like a lot of the working class folks are struggling with now, especially with so many changes in the last 5-10 years, and
Mm-hmm.
how so many of us are priced out of our living, and so many of us are undergoing very real struggles that we weren't even used to dealing with 5 or 10 years ago. And I think it's important to tell this very Californian story. I think that's what I'm here to tell and talk about. And there's so many gifted and talented photographers, and they're able to go over here to all these other great places around the globe. But I don't know if that's so much my thing. I think, even if I had unlimited funding, I'd want to keep it close to home and just do a better and more comprehensive job covering what I'm already covering. And I think part of that is like being really inspired by some of my peers and some of my contemporaries, and just seeing how they have like achieved like certain levels of success, but they still live in their like shitty little hometowns, like
Mm-hmm.
and they're like eager and excited to capture what they're seeing in front of them,
Mm-hmm.
despite having success or money or fame.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like really like says a lot, and that's
Yeah.
like really interesting because when we find our lane, I think it's like you got to really like see it through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I just want more to like do a better and more comprehensive job of what I'm already doing. If
Heck
that makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah.
No, it makes complete sense, dude.
Yeah.
That was like a really good answer. It just says a lot about your growth. It also brings things full circle, man.
Yeah,
Like where
yeah.
it's like, hey, you know what? I gotta live beyond this small town. I gotta go to the bigger cities. And I partly did the same thing. I was like, dude, I want to go live in L.A. I want to go live in San Francisco, New York.
Yeah.
But bringing all those things back, it's like then we come back and we reflect on our communities, and we see like the beauty that's there, the importance of trying to bring those perspectives, those world perspectives, to everybody that lives around here, because everybody's story is so important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, I really loved your answer. Let me see. One of the questions I always ask everybody is if you could talk to your younger self, with all the wisdom that you have now.
Yeah. Wow, that's a
What
good
would you
one. I mean, I
say?
feel like I kind of do that. Like I feel like I do that a lot, but I feel like I think mainly the one thing that when I think about this question, because like I said, I think about it to myself a lot, and I think the one really important thing is just, I think I would let them know that they're worth it. All the tough things and stuff that I kind of brought upon myself, that was all because, I thought either I wasn't worth it, I wasn't ready, I wasn't good enough. But I feel like if I could send a message to my younger self is that, that I am good enough, that you are ready to do things, you are worth it. These things are worth your time and effort. And, we cultivate the life that we want. I know a lot of it is based on circumstance, and I know a lot of us have a lot more tools than some of the others, but it's working with those tools, and we're really able to be an architect and create the life that we want. And I really see that now as a 41-year-old, and I didn't see that at 17 or 21 or even 31. I was like, damn, why is this so hard? Like, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? How come I'm not getting it right? Instead of like realizing like, oh, it's all within me. I have a choice. It might be slow going, and this might take a while. This might take a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but inevitably it's going to get done if I stick to it. And just seeing that, because I think not just myself when I was young, but so many of us are like plagued by that self-doubt, and we're like, wait, I can't do that. I don't have the skills, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, but, inevitably those are just kind of excuses that we tell ourselves to kind of keep us in that comfort zone. And for me, in that comfort zone, it's not so comfy, like there's a lot there, and you could sit there, but then there's wonder and there's doubt, and it's filled with all these uncomfortable questions about what could be and what will be. And yeah, it's just better to like kind of break that wall down and jump outside of it, And I feel like it kind of like that's when stuff really starts moving for you, when you like get comfy doing the uncomfy stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's when it starts moving more.
That's right.
Yeah, and having a little bit of like, just having the confidence to get it done, even if you're not sure, like, do I belong here? Maybe I do, maybe I don't, but just kind of like going with it. And
Seeing
then,
it through.
yeah, there might be like a few jerks there that will make you feel like you don't belong, but then inevitably you're going to meet a bunch of people that are going to make you feel like you do belong,
Yeah.
And it's just kind of wading the waters and getting to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Letting it happen and working, navigating yourself through it.
Yeah. But I love that question. That was great.
Well, we're gonna take a quick break.
Great.
But we're gonna come back one last time to see if there's any last thoughts you want to give to the audience. But thank you so much for all your words, your bravery, and sharing your story.
Sure.
And also for inspiring. You're inspiring me, bro.
Oh, thank you.
Everything you said was on point. So
I love
sincerely,
that.
this is what CISA Podcast is all about.